you said after you released those particular records that you kind of went pop with a little bit of soul. I'm curious to get to the mindset of pop with a little bit of soul. How did that work?
Well, the thing is, I was doing records that were written by Black writers. You're talking about Gamble and Huff. Okay. Yeah. Sounds of Philadelphia. So when I say pop with a little bit of soul, it was the fact that they were hit records, had already been hit records in the 70s in the US, and which would have been considered R&B. And for me to redo them, when I say a little bit of soul, it's just, I don't think that they knew how soulful the songs actually were. Initially in the UK, I really don't, because it was kind of that disco, that time when it was just like that real driven kind of sing along kind of songs. But I was glad to do songs by Gamble and Huff. I was glad to, I had already done, I'd done the Burt Bacharach and Hal David, pop soul stuff Dion had done, but to actually be able to take on a song that I knew from the original, Harold Melvin and the Balloons. I knew the original. I was a young girl, and I knew the original. But to be able to do that song, it was a song that I felt as if I could sink my teeth into. And I will tell you the story about that. It was one of the things about the song when they first did it. PWL had standard background singers that they always had doing backgrounds on all of their stuff. I'm talking about for everybody. And I remember when I first got the background, we'd done The Love I Lost, and they had sent me the track, and I was sitting there thinking, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I said, I need some Black girls and from church is over there to sing on this. I need some, and I was saying I needed more soulful backgrounds because they were too thin. They were pretty, not that Miriam, and not that they weren't good, but that's not what I thought would work. And so I needed to have a little bit more meat. You're talking about a Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes track, okay? And so I didn't need that. I needed a little bit more girth, a little bit more body. And so I ended up, I had some great singers. Angie Brown actually was one of the background singers on that track when we did the.
Oh, wow. Angie was just on the podcast.
Angie, I selected Angie. I was doing a tour of the UK, and they asked me who I wanted to be on the tour with me. And it was the Sisters of Soul tour, which was, it's funny, Sisters of Soul tour. And I had met Angie at a place called The Spot in Covent Garden. On a Sunday night, they used to have an open mic, and the best singers around London and outside of London would come, and it would be open mic. It would be absolutely fantastic. Beverly Skeet, I met Beverly there, Mary Pierce, just met a lot of great people. And so, when at the time when they asked me, I said it was Mission Control, and I said, well, how about Angie Brown? And so Angie will tell you, Angie was exposed to a new group of people because they didn't know who Angie Brown was, and she ended up coming, and we ended up winning an award for one of the best touring tours of the country in the UK during that year. And so Angie and I go way back, and it's just, it's been interesting. It's been a great time and a great fit, and we've remained friends. We've remained friends, and I was going to say that to you. I mean, how fantastic a person is Angie Brown. I mean, she's just incredible. She's just a lovely person, isn't she? She is a cut up, and we joke because we're both Geminis. Her birthday's the 13th of June, and mine's the 2nd. And so on tour, you were likely to get 4 people in a room as opposed to just 2. And then also I'm going to say this in terms of personality wise, I felt like we balanced each other out. We were a lot alike in a lot of ways, and in terms of creatively. I think there were things that she knew that I would do, and there were things I knew she would do, and I thought that it was just a really good balance. And then I was also, to be honest with you, Ori, I'm not one of those, I don't lip sync. I don't do that. And from show to show, it's very difficult for me to lip sync. And I knew that what I did on record, I could do live. And the same thing, I knew that what Angie did on record, she could do live, and that was important to me. So I wanted someone like that. Look, if I could have had Jocelyn Brown opening up, and we supported her, I would have been fine too, because Jocelyn Brown is one of my people as well. But So Angie and I are close, and she's awesome, very, very gifted, very talented. But I think personality wise, that's why we worked. And so
I've only met one Angie Brown though. I've
yeah,
not met. I'm not. but I mean, it's amazing because I was actually speaking to Angie about this in as much as that there is literally a handful of that kind of singer in the UK.
yeah,
And I've worked with some of them, and I mean, obviously, I've been a music producer now for coming up for 25 years, and I've worked with a lot of great names.
yeah,
And but there is only a handful of fabulous singers like that, and
yes,
it's one of those things that when you go down to London or whatever, and you're trying to get sort of good singers in, or you're trying to get there's very few people with a voice like that kind of soul voice.
that's right.
But the ones that are are on a lot of records, and
Yes,
they've done really, really well. They've managed to really kind of corner that side of the market, which is
that's right.
fabulous. But that's what I was going to ask about you though, because at the time you're big, you're in the charts, you're with Pete Waterman, you're doing the television thing, everything's going amazing. You're not just big in the UK, I must say, you're big in other countries too. But I mean, how did that feel at the time? Did it, a lot of artists tell me that when they're going through that kind of joyful moment in their career, that it passes them by and they don't really think too much about it. But other ones are saying, well, I really felt pressure because we had to get that next record done. We had to get how was it for you?
The thing is that you're always, it's one of the things is like, I've always said I've never wanted to be so famous that I couldn't walk down the street or go places and do things. And I've never been that. I mean, people recognize me, and it's like they'll look, where it depends on where I am. And they'll be like, didn't you, aren't you? And for me, I enjoyed and embraced the moments that I was in. I never, in terms of living for tomorrow, I always thought I live in my now, and I have my experiences in my now, and whatever that looks like, I enjoy it, embrace it, and I just keep on moving. And so ultimately what happened, I formed really good bonds and relationships with people. And so it kind of kept me sane. My friends were not just people in the industry. They were the people that worked behind the scenes too, that I became really close with. I was really close with the producers and the DJs. And so they knew me outside of the world of on TV, in the clubs performing, where I could sit down and we would have a meal together and have drinks and just enjoy one another differently. And so I've never gotten caught up in consumed, Rory, to be honest with you, because unlike a lot of people, what a lot of people didn't know, I already had one college degree when I started singing. I graduated college when I was 20, and I've got 2 degrees actually. I've got a master's as well, and so I never ever. I've always loved singing after I started doing it, but I also knew that I didn't want to be 60 and 70 years old and have to sing in order to make a living. And so I prepared myself. So when I had downtime, I was constantly learning or in a classroom getting training and doing the things that would prepare me for a relatively decent retirement, if it, because your voice changes, your body changes, it can't take on the rigors. And so those are my realities, and those have always been my reality. But
That's fantastic advice, though, Sybil. I mean, that is incredible advice for students or people listening to this. That is fabulous advice, because I mean, how many singers do we know that maybe their voice has cracked?
yes,
Really,
yes,
maybe cracked 10 years ago, but they're out there suffering, trying, believing that they can still sing, but really the voice. And I mean, to have something to fall back onto is fabulous. It's great advice.
And I think it's important. I said, like I said, I told you I was the reluctant artist. I never ever aspired to be an artist. As a matter of fact, I thought I was going to be an attorney. I really thought about law. That's what I was interested in. Also, my background was in communication. I thought I was going to run a radio station and be in production, because that was my undergraduate degree was in broadcast journalism, and then with a minor in psychology. And then my master's is in adult education and leadership in higher ed, which is called, yes. And so when I think about what it is, where I am, I think that the most important thing, and I tell college is not for everyone, but learning is. It's always, if you want to be in the music business, understand that it is a business, and try to find those other ways that you can make money, earn money, doing something that you love. So I don't begrudge anyone who is committed to the music industry, but let's be realistic. As a runner knows when to put up his shoes. He knows when. A swimmer knows when to stay out of the pool. You just know things. And so we as artists have to realize that we have to be mindful that as we get older, there are things that change about us. And there are songs that I sing with ease. And there are some songs I'm like, I'm not hitting that note right there. Nope, not gonna happen. I'll kill myself. And it's funny because I actually am part of our music ministry. We do a live stream from my church. So I'm part of the praise team. So I sing I'm singing every week. And so I've never stopped singing. And I think that's how and why my voice is preserved. But at the same time, again, I'm not unrealistic. And I do not think that it's important to have a backup plan. You don't know that you have a backup plan because sometimes you don't plan, it just happens. But things, again, it just happens. And like in my case, it just happened. And so one of the things I don't want people to think is that, this is a business. And everything that comes with it needs to be considered. We need to think about the fact and I will tell people, do you know, in terms of royalties, there's some records I've never seen a royalty on, never. And I will just put it out there, some of my biggest records I've never seen a royalty on. The reason why I earned money was because I performed. I went out and performed live. If I had to, I'm still hunting for royalties from, I'm just gonna say, 3 of my biggest records in the UK, and you can guess which ones they are and where I've never seen a royalty for them. But so that's why I say the business, make sure you handle your business, because at the end of the day, people will figure out ways to not compensate you. But at the end of the day, my talent and my gifts have made room for me where I've been able to earn. And so that I'm grateful for, because it's a business. And so there are going to be people who take advantage. I mean, Angie probably can tell you that story. She's probably never seen the volume of royalties that some of the people that she's made look and sound good. She's probably never, ever seen a royalty for some of that stuff. And so, but at the end of the day, I know that my voice is on some of the greatest records, that have been offered. Even they might not be great to some, but they were great to me because they did well. I was able to live. I'm still able to live and thrive out here in the US, in the UK, in Asia, in Africa, in Brazil, and in countries that if I had not sung these records, I would have never gone to. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah.